Hello, welcome back to the fast and furious world. Today's market snapshot. This is a self-audit. Disclaimer, this video is for informational and educational purposes only. It is not a personal recommendation or financial advice. Investments can fall as well as rise. Please consult a professional advisor before making any decisions regarding SIPs, ISAs, investing, etc. Go to the FCA register, look for an advisor. Easy peasy, job done. Now then, what I wanted to focus this video on is a couple of things where I think there's a bit of a move going on. It's a bit of a personal opinion about what's happening in the market. So here we go. So first up, looking at the S&P 500 index. This is a daily chart and it's one of the main barometers. So you can see Tuesday, big down day. Yesterday, Wednesday, the 4th, another relatively big down day. Setting lower lows, closing lower, going lower, making a new low. And then if we expand that out, let's have a look on a daily basis. So we could sort of look here. Someone might say, oh yeah, you know, channel support there and, you know, it's breached that or it's not that. They'll be looking at the moving averages, blah, 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 blah. All that. But let's just think about bulls and bears, reds and greens. Who's winning the day? So the bears, the sellers are winning. And interesting, the volume's quite high, so that can be an indication. And I'll be careful with my wording here. Can, maybe, etc. Likely, la la la. Could be an indication that we're going to go lower, maybe significantly. What recovery stories be. Now, fundamentally, all driven with the AI bullshit, and you know, a lot of that's good. But remember, everything. There's lots of people with their portfolio. They're rigged into the indexes via their discretionary fund managers, via their advisors, etc., etc. And they're being funds connected to this. Smart funds would be obviously hedging this and out of it, etc. And on a personal level, if you're with Saxo or you've got any of them sort of accounts, you could be buying put options on this index and being short of it and benefiting from that move. So anyway, that's a little bit on that. If I just switch quickly to the hourly. So the hourly, you can see, look, the overall sessions, like, there's a bit of dithering around, but this is the day before where it's boom, and then it's like, there. So I'll leave it up to you. You make your own decision. That's my take on it. I think it goes substantially lower. So there we go. So anyway, moving away from that, as we know, last week there was AeroVironment. So, you know, not getting squeezed out, significantly bad day yesterday. You know, 10% since Friday went into the position. We were stopped down there. You know, that might even have to be revised because, like I said, personal opinion again, personal opinion, my thought. Longer term, it's a good one to get nailed onto. Whether I'm at the right level, who knows about that. And do your own due diligence. And then, personal speaking again, if I'm looking at Lockheed, which is someone I got along with quite some time ago. I think it's targeting up there. It's had a significant down day yesterday. And with the turbulence, with the overall index going to be pummeled or pounded, it's going to drag everything down. But looking forwards, it's about, in my head, you know, what we'll do all right going forwards. And I think these defence type punts, let's call them that. Let's call them punts. Why not? Let's call it for what it is. But longer term punts are good and are going to be positioned well, especially with a lot of the instability going on in the world that I've got no control of, you've got no control of, etc. So anyway, that was my take. And just quickly, another one which I do like is General Dynamics. Check them out, have a look into them. You know, they're a big player in lots of spheres. I can do a separate video on all the more technical stuff. But if I'm looking at them on this daily, and again, sticking with the dailies, look at that. That looks nice. It's had this drop here. It's going to settle, I think, significantly further to target. up that way, but short term get dragged down. So anyway, that's my quick take. So maybe there'll be a change of regime at some point. Nigel Farage, the reform leader, has said about ripping up some of the regulatory type stuff that stops people doing things. But until that point, here's a regulatory disclaimer to go at the end of this video in line with FCA FG 21/1. This is not financial advice. However, this content is for educational purposes only and does not constitute advice for your specific situation. Capital at risk. Investments in high beta defence stocks can fluctuate. You may get back less than you invested. Shall I repeat that? You may get back less than you invested. You might lose. It might go down. FCA compliance. This video is intended to help people to perform their own due diligence. Now, always consult with an authorised, regulated financial professional before making any decisions related to your own personal circumstances. That's all I can say. So hopefully I've covered it off. I've had a disclaimer throughout. I've put disclaimers throughout. Put this disclaimer here. Do what you're going to do.